Yep. October 1st, 2022. If it's 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, it's time for This Week in Waukesha. I'm your host, Alderman Emeritus Don Browne, coming to you live from the offices of former Alderman Don Paul Browne, also known as the Walk Radio Studios here at 217 Wisconsin Avenue in the NAMI building, right around the corner from Theodora Yeomans Park, where we're proud to honor our suffragette heritage. And big shout out to Johnny Watermelon at our farmers market this morning. I'll be there after the show to sign autographs and press the flesh with my adoring public. Very pleased to have Calvin here with the production this morning, and also pleased to give Connor a rare morning off, although he might be there helping Johnny at the farmer's market. Knowing Connor, he can't get away from all that fresh produce. And I have a very distinguished guest this morning, a downtown business owner, a 5 Points business owner. Waukesha, please say good morning to Danny Faustman of Guitar for Life Studio.
Good morning, guys.
How you doing today, Danny?
Thanks for having me, Don. I'm great.
Good. Yeah, we've had quite a conversation before the show. I hope Connor or Calvin recorded it. It was some good talk in there. We'll be sure to repeat it. But before we get with Danny, in fact, Danny wants to hear this because he's a South father. His son Hayden, class of 2022, now a freshman at DePaul,
right on,
in Chicago. Last night. We broadcast the South game versus crosstown rivals, Waukesha West, and unfortunately our black shirts took second again, losing to the Wolverines 50-7. And the lone black shirts touchdown came from a 55-yard touchdown pass from senior quarterback Tack Tadioka to junior Evan Stout from Banting Park. I know him pretty well, good kid, and that's my boy. But that was sparked by an interception and run back, 35-yard run back by junior Gabe Lascano, the Irishman, on a big play that helped set up that lone black shirt touchdown. But, hey, I got to give props on what I believe to be the play of the game. So Wolverines, they have their second and third stringers, and they score the last touchdown. It's 48-7. The kicker, Donovan Matson, comes out. He's hoping to make his seventh straight extra point. And trouble with the snap. I don't know if it was a bad snap or just the holder mishandled it, but the holder, senior reserve defensive back, senior Joe Ginter, takes that muff ball. He runs back all the way to like the 30 or 35, and there's 2 or 3 black shirts chasing him, looking to bring him down. You figure it's not going to end well. He does this Joe Montana jump pass and heaves it into the end zone. And I regret that I don't remember the receiver's name, but he comes down with it, and it was all made possible by that Ginter pass. No one was expecting it. It was a heck of a throw. And so that's the play of the game, in my opinion. I'd even give that young man the MVP. I didn't see him play at all last night, and maybe he doesn't get a lot of playing time, but he sure delivered on that play, and that's a great highlight for that senior that I'm sure he'll remember for a long time, and we won't soon forget. So kudos to him. Don't forget that next weekend, a lot of things going on. It's South's homecoming, so that before the homecoming game against Arrowhead, there will be South Fest at the athletic fields next to Ken Holub Stadium, so be sure to check that out. Bring the kids. It's kind of a carnival atmosphere, games and concessions, a lot of fun things to play. So any questions about that, call us here at the station. And then Waukesha Unlocked. Next Saturday. We Guitar for Life be in Waukesha Unlocked, Danny?
We're not actually part of the Unlocked, but we will be open and we'll have music. And
that sounds
things,
great.
Yeah.
So, hey, while you're touring, be sure to go visit Danny at Guitar for Life Studio. And, hey, here's a great opportunity. So tell me about your business, Danny. You're there in the 5 Points. You're a downtown businessman.
Yeah.
I know you have something to do with guitars.
Yeah, right. I started a Guitar for Life Studio in 2008. And when Waukesha was kind of resurging and starting to rebuild downtown, the downtown business area on Main Street, and took over a small shop there and started teaching. I needed a place to put my stuff. It was, filling up the house, and so we found a place to start up and decided to do lessons to pay for the rent. And 14 years later, we're still there, and we've got 3 different teachers now, and
wow.
There's about 60 students, I think, altogether
really?
In there. In 2020, I started the Guitar for Life Cafe, which is just right attached to it, right on the 5 Points.
Taking over for the Knutsons.
Yeah, taking over for Mark, Pops, and they had other things to do, so took over that corner, and Friday Night Lives, and had live music. And
you offer their popcorn still, I see, right?
Yeah.
That's great. What are some of the other things they have in the menu for
at the cafe? We do hot dogs and paninis. So
nice.
We've got our homemade chili. We do hot dogs with all kinds of stuff. We've got like a pizza sandwich, and the paninis are like the size of your head.
Nice.
You get chips and a pickle, and it's just good rock and roll food. Just something easy to eat.
Yeah.
We're going to be revamping a little bit of the menu and adding some new stuff to coming up in the next few months.
Sure. So speaking of rock and roll, you also offer a lot of live music. I mean, you're out there on Friday Night Live, or when that was open, but you're still doing the live music. I've seen you do it outdoors a couple times, and then indoors.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that there in the cafe, or is there? Okay.
It's
fantastic.
It's a small place. I mean, we can fit maybe 25, 30 people in there, but we do a Wednesday night open mic. So anybody that wants to play, got students that come in and do their lessons, do their songs that they're working on. I found some really good talent. A lot of people come in there to try out so they can play on Fridays and Saturdays.
So I could go in there and do my Shane McGowan cover band that I've been trying to put together. Okay,
you could. It would be fun.
Even just do a little acapella. All right,
I get it all the time. You'd be surprised what we get up in there.
Fantastic. Careful what you wish for. That's great to know. What are the hours on that open mic?
The open mic starts at 6:30 and goes to 9.
Nice. And do you have, is there like kind of a professional or maybe yourself that kind of leads it? Like you might start with the song and then you bring some other people on to jam with you?
Yeah, well, John Archimedes, the Joke Shop guy from Main Street.
He runs the Joke Shop called, and they're running out of you. Can't resist that Seinfeld reference.
And so he does it on 1 week, and then one of my students that kind of graduated from lessons with me, Eric Loverin, he runs it on every other week. And now we've got a guy named Sam that comes in when they can't do it, and so they kind of all rotate and help each other out. They do it for free. They come in and do it because they love doing it.
Sure.
It's a blast. It's a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite nights of the week.
It was one of my favorite things to do when I lived in Chicago, because we were talking about Chicago earlier. On Monday nights, I'd go to a place on the north side on Division of Wood called the Smoke Daddy.
Okay.
It had great barbecue. Like the kitchen's about the size of the bathroom we have out here in the hallway, but they had the best barbecue. But on Mondays, they had open mic, and it was led by a guy named Rockin' Johnny Burgeon, a great blues guitarist.
Okay.
And he would have a legendary blues bassist named Jimmy Burns, who was actually one of the first musicians to play the electric guitar. He was a stand-up bass player. And when Gibson came up, I think it was Gibson came up with that electric bass, they had him trying it out. So it was really cool. You had those guys jamming, and people could come up and jam with them, different artists, and it really made it a lot of fun. So that's kind of what you have going on there at the cafe.
It's a very simple thing. My friends and I've pretty much grown up with an open jam kind of atmosphere from the early 90s.
I love that.
Already.
Sure.
And so we just kind of keep it going now. Most of the people that were doing those jams when we started out, 30 years ago, those guys are doing, more professional things and are booked. So there's nowhere for younger musicians or newer musicians to hang out and play and try stuff. I love
that.
So we offer that there,
That's fantastic. So I have to ask you then, because you said, did you grow up in Waukesha or here in the area?
I grew up in Big Bend, yeah.
In Big Bend, okay. Yeah. Sounds great. And you mentioned, I think, was it last night you had a band from Big Bend?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Radiation Music. Radiation. The Fritz family. Daughters and their dad playing Celtic, like Irish music mixed with hard rock.
Okay, it's right down my alley then.
It was so much fun. They're such a great... Tom Fritz is such an awesome guy.
Yeah. So they might be able to help me with my Pogues cover band.
They absolutely could. Okay. And that's something that we can bring up with them.
Tell me. I even got a name. I'm going to call them the Lonesome Corncrakes from one of my favorite Pogues songs.
Hey, you do what you got to do, man.
Yeah. But I love that. Like, I had no idea that was going on here in downtown Waukesha. And so, we need to get that word out about a lot of the great things you're doing there. Because I know
every Friday and Saturday we've got live music, and as long as it can be outside, it is. You know?
That's awesome. Yeah,
Otherwise,
so-
you bring it inside, and that's fun too.
Yeah, and if it's a little cooler now, you just, I don't know, do you have a propane tank out there or something? Or is
No,
there
you
anything
just freeze.
You just freeze, but yeah, the music warms you up.
Yeah, last night we had a lot of people on the corner. You know, there's probably 40, 50 people out there hanging
That's
out with
great.
radiation with the lights and the fog.
So they were playing outside then?
Yeah.
And the fog. What a great effect.
Yeah, fog and lights. They put on a big, really cool show right downtown.
I love that. Like, that's what a lot of people envision for downtown Waukesha.
That's what I envision for sure.
Oh, yeah. So I think later in the show we're going to talk about, because we both kind of have a vision, which I believe is a shared vision, about having a guitar festival
Oh, yeah.
in Waukesha to honor the Les Paul heritage. And what does that mean to you? Is that what brought you to Waukesha, or was it just
I think-
available space?
Well, I love Waukesha. I'm a big proponent of it. You know, I'm always out there trying to promote all the other businesses, Magellan's, Mainstream, anybody that's doing really kind of cool things. You know,
Sure.
we got the vinyl shop next door.
We got to
which
talk
is,
about vinyl.
You know, a big revisiting of my youth, and it's really coming back. So you've got some really cool things going on downtown. You know, with music and with food and
Sure.
Just a nightlife and a really cool atmosphere going on right now.
It really is. That's fantastic. So we have 2 minutes for the first break, and so I wanted to talk about. We'll save the vinyl for the next segment. So Friday and Saturday nights, live music. Wednesday nights, open mic.
Yep, and that's all at the cafe, right on the 5 Points.
That's fantastic. And what are your hours normally? Can people walk in and get a lesson, or how does that all work?
Lessons are by appointment. You can do that through the studio, and you can call me up, and you can find guitarforlifestudio.com and find me, and you can book right online. And then the cafe hours are 11 to generally 7. Unless
Okay.
we're doing something else on a Wednesday through Saturday.
Okay.
And then, like I said, the live music goes till 9.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're always there. Seems like I'm always down there. Always
That's
having
fantastic. Sounds great. Hey, and then before the break, also going to take just a quick break from the discussion to remember that with the election coming up in November, it's important to make sure you're registered to vote. There's still time, and to make sure and get out and make your vote count. Next week, we may have, if she's feeling better, Kristen Hansen will be coming in to talk about how you can take advantage of early voting, absentee voting, and voting on site. So please, make sure you do that. And then after you vote, come by the cafe and see Danny and jam to some music. And so now people can't buy guitars from your store. You don't retail guitars, right? It's
No,
just
I send them over to Outpost. I send them over
Okay.
to Craig Bauman or Jason Hagberg over at Guitar Center. So
That sounds great. Yeah, because we wanted to talk about that connectivity, that guitar industry here in Waukesha, especially in downtown. So we're going to pay some bills right now, but This Week in Waukesha continues with Danny Faustman from Guitar for Life Studio. And in the meantime, enjoy some Hot House Flowers, and we'll be back after this as This Week in Waukesha continues here in the Shaw. Talk about it. Talk about it. So I hope you like the song I got.
B-side.
Yeah. Do you remember what it was on the A side?
Was it a Whole Lot of Love?
The Immigrant Song.
Immigrant song. Yeah, this is my favorite Zeppelin song by far.
Me too, yeah.
By far.
Tell you about the girl I love.
My, she looks so fine.
She's the only one that I've been dreaming of. Maybe someday she will be all mine. I wanna tell her that I love her so. I thrill with her every touch.
I get to redo the song heavy.
You can tell her she's
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
with
Yep.
cool guitars.
Yeah, I never liked the Hootie cover very much. Hey, so we're back on This Week in Waukesha, and we're enjoying some Led Zeppelin. We both agree it's our favorite song, Hey, Hey, What Can I Do, from Led Zeppelin, which is, that's a tough choice with their great glossary. And Calvin, you can pause that so we can jam for the next break. We really want to bang that out at the end there.
Yeah.
Waiting for my street corner girl. So, So yeah, and Danny remembered. I was going to ask him. That was a B-side to the Immigrant Song on the old 45s,
Right.
And which is a great segue into this next discussion. Is the age of vinyl has actually had a big resurgence. Calvin here in our studios got some vinyls. You even have a turntable, right?
That is right.
Yeah, and those aren't cheap anymore. Those are like the cost of a used car, right?
I just got a cheap one off Amazon. One of
Fantastic.
those $40 record players.
But so before the show started, Danny and I were talking, and I think I've got a few years on him, but he might remember back in the day when you bought the vinyl, the record, the LP. That was an experience. I'd save up my money from the paper route. I'd go to the store. You'd pick out that album. They put it in the brown bag sleeve. It was only designed. It was only made for LPs, for albums. Yeah. And you brought it home. And you couldn't wait to get it on the turntable, and you had to be careful with Dad's needle. Putting that on that. But that noise, once that needle hits the vinyl too, it's like magic. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like you're bringing something into the world.
That scratchy silence that you get.
Yeah. Yep. And then once that or whatever that noise that it makes. That's But then the album itself, there was artwork involved. There was something. It was a great opportunity for the band to express itself beyond the music.
Like Iron Maiden was like my favorite band, and half the reason I liked them or got into them was their artwork and all the cool, scary stuff, and all the liner notes and their live shows and pictures, and just such a cool experience to grab the
go
an
through
Iron Maiden album and look through it.
And and I'm a big word guy. I mean, I'm a writer, so. I loved having the lyrics on there to look at and to learn. The lyrics were as much a part of the music to me as the guitar, but there were also times when the guitar would take over the lyrics. We'll get to that in a second. But that's what I love about what's going on there in the 5 Points is because you've got Guitar for Life Studio. You have some business neighbors. I thought it was part of your store that sell the vinyls, vinyl records there. What are they called?
Vinyl Vault.
Vinyl Vault. And so they're great. You'd call them.
The guy Dan runs that place too.
They're co-suppliers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great, you guys support each other, which is
definitely
neat. Yeah, and you mentioned the other guy's Outpost. And
Craig Bauman over at Outpost.
So we've got kind of a guitar sector, whereas Ybor City and Tampa Bay is all about the cigar rolling.
Sure.
Downtown Waukesha is about the guitar business.
Yeah,
the
music.
West Paul heritage.
Yeah. And we love it. And everybody's friends. Ben Janzo is probably one of the best teachers around, and he works at Outpost.
Is that right?
And we'll trade students. He'll send his students over, to play at the open mics or, play at the the different benefits that I do.
Yeah.
And I'll send him people too if I'm booked or I can't do anything, go over by him. And
sure.
I send people over. I don't want to sell guitars because I just don't want to. And I'll send them over by Craig, and Craig will set them up,
That's fantastic. And then across the street in what I've called a cursed location, there's a new restaurant or bar there every 6 months, it seems like. But now they got something that I think will fit, especially with your brand and what you're doing in the rest of the guitar sectors, is that Brewcade.
Yeah, we partnered up with them over for Friday Night Live. We shared a stage together. And Tracy's doing a great job over there with that.
She sure, and then she poached Russell from Magellan's, who's a lot of people's favorite barkeep here
by far
in the Shaw.
One of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, great. And Russell's the bar manager, I believe. And so, but I was saying, in my junior high years, going to the arcade was the big deal. I was never much of a video game guy, but my buddies were.
Right.
And and you would go and you meet some of the girls too. The girls would show up looking their best and all that. And then, but right next door was the record store to the arcade, and that made just perfect sense. That was in that age group, that was your bar, that was your place to hang.
Yeah.
Having those two next, and now you have that in downtown Shaw for people in our age group. And I think for these younger guys like Calvin, do you play video games too?
I do.
So now you've got this really great, resurgence of really, Americana. What I think about.
Right.
So
and in Brewcade, it's all they've got so many old games that are redone.
Yeah.
They got this monster-sized Pac-Man.
Yeah.
And you can play against each other. And it's huge. It's like the size of God in it.
Sure. That's cool. So 3 minutes for the next break, but I think that gives us some time. How did you fall in love with? How did you first become interested in guitars? I know every kid dreams of being a guitar player and a cowboy and a football star. All these things, but guitar is a big commitment. How did that happen for you?
Well, my mom was a big proponent of playing music. I played piano from kindergarten,
nice,
through third grade, and then my third grade teacher, she would bring the guitar in, and we'd hang out in class, and she'd play, and then she showed me some chords, and then my mom got me going, and Uncle Bob's music in Milwaukee, and
love it,
got me set up with that, and I just kind of fell in love with it, and have been lucky enough to be able to do it for the last 40 years.
Neat. Did you take any other instruments, say in high school and all that, or school?
Nah, just
piano?
Guitar.
Okay.
Yeah, I just loved heavy metal and loved like the electricity of it and the loudness of it.
What was your first album? Did you have LPs?
Yeah, what was I always had my mom and dad's albums. You know,
there
like
you go.
The
same here. I had older brothers.
Old school.
Yeah.
My dad was into the 50s, like rock and roll and
one of my
that
brothers,
kind of stuff. Chuck Berry and things like that.
Oh,
man. I think my first record was Beach Boys. I had the Beach Boys' greatest hits.
Nice.
And that was like the record that I listened to all the time.
Yeah.
It was like 10.
Oh, yeah. And Brian Wilson's a genius.
Yeah. Yeah, he was, and I have always loved that kind of music, and I think that's like the hair metal and that pop rock metal stuff.
Yeah.
I still listen to that all the time. It's still something that I grew up with, you know.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Yeah. So, what's new out today that resonates with you? Because I haven't been paying. You know, I get Connor helps me out with some music.
I listen to instrumental music and things like that. Like I'm still in love with like Steve Vai and Joe Satriani and those guys. Nice. But this Polyphria is out right now, and they're an instrumental 4-piece band, and the music that they play is just amazing. It's incredible. Wow. You wouldn't even believe what they're doing with the guitars now.
Oh, that's really cool.
7/8 string guitars, all intermingled with heavy and light and acoustic, and it's just really interesting stuff. Every measure is something cool to listen to.
Wow, that's neat. So do you teach others? So it's not you're teaching guitar so people could play it for anything, classical.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
just to play guitar. I'll get them to a certain point, and then I'll send them off to wherever they want to go. If they want to go classical, I'll send them here. If they want to do jazz,
sounds great.
Just getting them playing live, and understanding that excitement of entertaining people.
Yep.
And you're not playing guitar for yourself. You're playing it to entertain other people and make them happy. And once they get that, they can move on.
Sounds great. Hey, and speaking of moving on, we're going to take a quick break here, but we'll be back with Danny Faustman from Guitar for Life Studio here as This Week in Waukesha continues. Enjoy some Led Zeppelin in the meantime. This Week in Waukesha, and that is Danny. Who's playing?
Well, this is Stones, isn't it?
Yep, doing Happy, and I believe Keith Richards, lead guitarist. I think he's doing vocals on this too. I think.
Yeah, he's at least background. You can hear him. It's what we were talking about earlier. That melody that goes through that riff.
Yeah,
is as much a part of the melody and as part of the lyric as the voices.
Yeah.
And you hear it just constantly. That's what you're going to hear when you walk away. Maybe not even the singing.
Yeah.
Just that melody,
Yeah. So we had Led Zeppelin on before. Jimmy Page, one of my favorite guitarists, and I think a lot of people, role model for many. And now we have Keith Richards, considered one of the greatest, if not the greatest guitarist of all time. Who are some of your influences?
Oh, gosh. Well, I'm like the metal guy, so like the Steve Vais and the Joe Satriani, Megadeth, Dave Mustaine and Kirk Hammett from Metallica, and those guys, just the first guys to come out and be really aggressive. Steve Vai was the first guy that I heard, outside of Jeff Beck.
Okay.
And that was really kind of weird. Like he played really weird music and did really cool stuff with the guitar that other people weren't doing.
Nice.
That's kind of how it is now with me.
Okay.
I play all kinds of different music.
Love it.
Sure.
Yeah. Speaking of cool stuff. Calvin, you were supposed to screen this call. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, we've got a caller in, Mary Jane Sanchez from Work Hub, who's in the same building as you, Danny. And
she's following me around all over.
Yeah. So, hey, Mary Jane, good morning. What's going on?
Hey, good morning. Both you guys are going on, so I love it.
Hey, love it.
But I'm actually calling in for a complaint.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So,
I didn't do it.
Because my office is upstairs from Guitar for Life and Guitar for Life Cafe, especially in the summer months, when my window's open, I hear this phenomenal music, and I'm trying to push for the last hour of getting my work done, I got to close up my laptop and come downtown or downstairs and join everybody because the music is so phenomenal. I love it. I absolutely love it.
So would that not be a benefit of your work environment that you get off an hour early to enjoy that beautiful music, those lovely airs?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
The funny thing about Mary Jane is she says she's leaving. She's got leaving early. This is at like 8:00 at night. She's been there all day, so it's like a 12-hour day already. She's got to leave early then.
That's good. So she comes down to the cafe and takes in some rock and roll, right?
Yes.
And a bite to eat.
But I do want to give kudos to Dan because he's much more than a cafe and a guitar studio. He brings the community together.
Nice.
Dan has an extension of premises, and any nice day, or even a winter day that has some sunshine, you'll find people outside on his corner. A lot of the business owners, they just all come and they hang out, and we kind of discuss business while the weather's decent. And so it is. It's a gathering place for people right downtown on the 5 Points.
I appreciate
so thank you, Dan, for that.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's the whole point. That's why I wanted to be on the corner. That's why we grabbed the cafe. So that everybody would have a place to go. You'd have just a place to hang out. Nothing ostentatious or crazy. Just a place where you can go and have a beer. Waukesha County beers. That's what we have on tap. We don't have anything even from Milwaukee. Just
I forgot to ask
Waukesha County beers.
You do have the drinks for the grown-ups, though.
I do.
Fantastic.
And we've got sodas and waters as well. And the kids are always welcome. We've got games and just a place to come and hang out, listen to some tunes, and talk.
I dig it. So, and now Mary Jane too is. Will you be part of our committee that Danny's chairing to bring a guitar festival to the Shaw someday? Can we count you in?
Well, when I was 18 years old, I started to do events, and I continue to do events.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm your gal that you've both been dreaming of. Is that how the song goes?
That's what I'm saying, Mary Jane.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on, Janie.
Yes.
Sounds great.
But I also want to give a shout out to you, Don, because as you know, my son Antonio's in town, and he had a phenomenal time last Friday on the air with you calling the game.
He was my guest color commentary during the Muskego game last Friday. So, and it's always great to see Antonio, just a fine young gentleman, very much like Hayden Faustman in the tradition of Waukesha South graduating. Great young men and women, real Renaissance people. So, it was a real treat to see. And Antonio was a mentor to my son Evan back when Antonio was like 7 or 8 inches taller than him, and now
Evan towers over Antonio.
So we have to get a picture of those two. We didn't get to do it after the Muskego game, but maybe next time he's in town, we'll have to get a side by side. So
in December he'll be in town, and we won't be as busy as we are this time around. But I just have to tell you a little insight. So I had posted on Facebook. The radio station and whatever. So all of his football friends were texting him online and heckling him while he was on the air with you. So
he seemed a little nervous. I was wondering about that, So he was getting.
Well, they were in his text message, and then he said he on the sly got their names in there while you guys were talking.
Sounds great.
So meaning,
that's right. He did.
Waukesha South football players.
Fantastic.
But anyways,
all right.
Back to Donnie and Dan and you.
The Dan and Don show, All right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Mary Jane, thanks for the call, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you maybe later.
Yes, at the farmer's market.
That's right. We'll see you over there. Have a blessed day, Mary Jane. Thanks so much for the call.
You too. Thank you.
Yep. See you. So we're back here. And it's always great to hear from Mary Jane. She is one of the great ambassadors for downtown Waukesha, for the Shaw, and also a great ambassador for local business. And it's pleasing to hear from you, Danny, about the other businesses that you embrace and you shout out here in downtown Waukesha. Question, what would you say is the missing link? Like, what's the one concept that downtown Waukesha needs that they don't currently have that could really help knock you guys out of the park?
I think that my big thing is the live music, and we don't have a venue that's doing regular bands. And DC was doing it over at Mad Scientist, and couldn't make it work because of all the construction and
Yeah.
it's just, and COVID and he just couldn't dump any more money in it. But the thing is, Waukesha really needs, like downtown Waukesha, because Q Club has great music over there and Tim Dunn does a great job over there. Saloon on Calhoun just went down, and the Dailers, just couldn't make it work anymore. And again, a big band live venue. I think that would really pull everything together. My place isn't big enough to do big bands or have the bigger size bands. Like we were talking about maybe doing like a guitar festival, being able to pull that together every year.
Like in the summer when it's nice out, because you could have a lot of outdoor venues, makeshift venues. You could use Frame Park's little amphitheater.
We've done benefits, where we started Guitar for Life at the cafe, and then we go to all the businesses up and down, like a poker run. And Mainstream does a great job of promoting music and having music in there. Magellan's does a great job during Friday Night Live. I mean, we have the owners and we have the wherewithal to do it. We just don't have a good venue to be able to just finish the night off and do a big show anymore, and I think we need that.
You think Tony would ever let you up on the roof there, or get a band up there to
do
kind of a Beatles, get back, like Let It Be album?
You should see that roof. You don't want to.
It's pretty rough. Okay, so to be continued. But because one of my inspirations for a music festival concept was in my grandmother's hometown in the west of Ireland, in Milltown Malbay, in County Clare. They have what's called the Willie Clancy. It's an international music festival where people can come, and they come from all over the world. And there's an actual school. They have lessons and all that. So that's where Guitar for Life could come in. And then you have all the pubs have these traditional Irish sessions, which for those who don't know, it's just when artists get together and they just jam. There might be one or two professionals that lead the session, but it's just a great way to enjoy music while having a couple pints and connecting with friends. And
right on.
It's such a great scene because a lot of it happens ad hoc. There's the formal school, and that's a draw. But then there's just the organic gathering of different musicians in pubs and on street corners. It's such a cool thing. I remember a guy I was traveling with who I met in O'Hare Airport. We were talking to this woman from South Africa, and she thought we were from Ireland. We're both first, second generation Irish Americans. We say we're from Chicago, and she's like, "Oh wow, Irish Americans, how cool!" Like she's meeting Elvis for the first time or something. But it's neat when you have these festivals because there's people around the world. When you mention Waukesha, they know. They think Les Paul. And so there's the potential for developing a concept, starting small, but that could grow into something that would attract people from all over the world.
I agree.
That want to learn guitar, that want to catch some great blues, rock, different genres of guitar music that inspire and create, special memories.
Yeah, we get people that come into the hotel, to the Clark, from all over the country, all over the world, really. And we're right kitty corner. We're right across. So you look out your window and you're seeing Guitar for Life. And they're coming in and asking about Les Paul. And, we've got Les Paul Museum stuff in there to look at. But you can see, like, the 35 years that I've been doing, it's all around in my place. And you can see the different guitars and the different pictures.
I'll have to check that out then.
Flyers and things that we've done. And they just think it's so cool. And they want more of that. That when they come here, they're thinking that you can have guitars all over the place. And it should be like Nashville. And, I think in the future, as we build, I think that downtown Waukesha will become exactly that, and that's really the goal. Is we should have music all over the place all the time.
And we got another studio here at the office of former Alderman Don Paul Browne, also known as the Walk Radio Studios, right, Calvin? Calvin would help produce some music, right? You catch him in. Hey, and before I forget, before we go to the break, Jim Santel's on next at 9 with Morning Cannolis. And I highly recommend checking out that show to learn about the latest in the developing law, especially as it affects us politically. And Jim has graced us with some morning cannolis to enjoy. Thanks so much, Jim.
God, does that look good?
So we have great. How much time before the break, Calvin? Say it, man.
We have 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Oh, we have plenty of time. Okay, I had my hand signals wrong, and but boy, I can't wait to enjoy these cannolis.
I know. I'm looking at it. It's staring right back at me.
I wasn't feeling very good when I came home this morning. I didn't have anything to drink. I wasn't partying. I got home late from the football game at West, and my wife said the same thing, but she wasn't feeling great either. But now I'm feeling better, and I get this guitar music.
Takes a minute on it after a Friday night.
A real Renaissance man like Danny Faustman. I mean, you're living the dream because you love guitar. It's your passion.
Yeah,
and you do it for a living.
Yeah. Well, I also make hot dogs and sandwiches, but yeah. My dad, that's the running joke in my family. It's like, my dad always said, you keep playing that guitar, you're going to be making sandwiches the rest of your life. And so my brother comes into town and takes a picture of me making a sandwich and said, Dad, you're right. Look at this.
Yeah. Oh, that's hysterical.
So yeah, that's the kind of running joke in the family. I get to play guitar.
You know, what a great way to support your passion then, because you got this food business on the side.
It's always just serving people, It's always entertaining people and making sure that they're happy.
And there's a little bait and switch in there too. You sell a hot dog and say, hey, do you happen to play guitar at all? Or do you
or vice versa.
Yeah. Because you probably get a fair amount of like maybe high worth individuals or men like myself in their midlife crisis, or women, and they just want to play guitar. They always wanted to do it.
Yep.
Kids are out of the house.
It's my favorite.
College is paid for.
My favorite people are them. We have so much fun, and to get them, I got the student Janice, that started taking lessons 3 months ago, and now she's doing the open mic and singing and playing guitar.
I love it.
And she never even played before, and now she's
check out Janice.
Starting
Janice
to play
Joplin.
Already. Almost, yeah. Should have heard her. She jammed really, really well on Wednesday.
That's fantastic.
Really cool.
Yeah.
3 months it took.
On Wednesdays. Okay, I got to check that out.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So, that sounds fantastic. So, it's neat. I'll tell you a story after the break, but boy, we have so much more to talk about. We might have to join Jim Santel's show. Maybe we'll talk some guitars and law. But hey, This Week in Waukesha continues for our final segment. Please enjoy the Rolling Stones with "Happy," as This Week in Waukesha continues with Danny Faustman of Guitar for Life Studio. We'll be back.
I'm chowing on this. That looks good.
Isn't it great? Yeah.
Did you know that you could cook?
Good call. Yep, the only album they made.
Yep.
Hey, so we're back This Week in Waukesha. And so part of my music this morning was I had Led Zeppelin, of course, Jimmy Page, one of my favorite guitarists of all time. And then the Rolling Stones, Keith Richards, obviously in that elite class, and some would say the greatest of all time. And then now you have Eric Clapton, who's been so prolific. He's been in so many bands. And this one, Blind Faith, the only album they made was called Blind Faith. And that's Can't Find My Way Home.
Yeah, wasn't that all studio musicians? And I think they just put it together.
Had Stevie Winwood, who was maybe not a day over 20 at the time. He started at like 16 or 17 with the Spencer Davis Band. And that Blind Faith was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for just that one album.
One record, yeah.
Yeah, because they were that good. I think Ginger Baker was in that band.
Yeah.
And it was really quite a collaboration.
Was it the beginning of Cream?
Cream, I think, followed Blind Faith, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
But Clapton was another one, heavily influenced by American blues.
Yep.
And it became his passion, and obviously he made a decent living doing it. And but I think it was Derek and the Dominoes, and I don't know how many albums they did, but that one album they did with Bell Bottom Blues. Talk about a guitar jam. I almost played that today.
Yeah. There's so many songs, man. So many
great songs.
You picked some good ones, though. These are all great.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah.
Stump the chump, right? And I got them all right.
You killed it, man. I figured you would. Well, you even knew that Hey, What Can I Do was a B-side.
Yeah, that's fun.
To the Immigrant Song. I'm not even sure if the very learned Jim Santel would know that. And Jim is a very knowledgeable guy and a Renaissance man like yourself. And,
as long as it's got guitar in it, I try to know what it is, right?
That's it. Yeah. And hey, why not? So, because we were talking earlier about how guitars can even be vocals or can sing the words for you. And a great example is on one of my favorite albums is called The Music Never Stopped, The Roots of the Grateful Dead. And it was some of the Dead's best cover songs by the original artist. And one of them was this obscure song. The Dead plays it not as much, but it's called Spoonful. And the original artist was Willie Dixon. This is back probably in the 20s or 30s. And it's a really scratchy recording, which is cool in itself. But when he gets to that chorus line, Willie Dixon, all that I want is and the guitar comes, and it's the guitar is spelling spoonful, and you know that, and you feel it, and he's, and it's just
Peter Frampton
so powerful.
did that so powerfully too. Peter Frampton got famous on having the guitar be the vocal.
Yeah,
and so that was probably one of my first really kind of cool guitar records,
Sure.
comes alive,
Yeah. So Johnny Watermelon from the farmer's market has texted in a question. So I'm glad he's got the radio on there at the
Nice.
farmer's market.
All right,
So
way
probably
to
a
go.
big crowd of music fans listening. He wants to know, in your opinion, who's the best blues guitar player and or teacher in Waukesha? So kind of a two-part question here.
Blues? Well, okay. I kind of biased just because he's my friend, but Craig Bauman does a really, really cool job with his band, The Story.
Wow.
And
Are they local?
Yeah, he's local, but they play festivals all over. They get.
It's a great name for a band.
Yeah, Craig Bauman and The Story, and he does a solo thing with. I think Just For Me. I don't know that he does it anywhere else. I haven't heard of him doing it anywhere else. He does it for Steel Tank with Mike Wangren and Barron and all those guys out there.
Steel Tank Brewery?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave Barron's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a fun guy, and I've seen him do it out there. I've gone and seen him, but if you want to see somebody really kind of play the old school blues and old school guitar, just in general, like I'll pick up a toy guitar and make it sing. Craig Bauman for sure is my favorite blues guitar player out here. Ben Janzo's awesome, but he does like 80s pop, and he's a real smooth guitar player out here too.
So that's neat. There's great guitarists right here in the Shaw.
Oh, for sure.
Area.
For sure.
That we're not taking advantage of, or not
and you
knowing
can see
enough
them
about. Yeah.
And again, Mainstream does a thing on Thursday nights and Saturday nights. They got live music, and it's duos and trios, and a lot of the time, it's being anchored by a really great guitar player.
Mainstream. I didn't know that. What nights was that again?
They do an open mic on Thursday nights.
Okay.
And then they do live music on Fridays or Saturdays. Usually Saturday.
Okay.
They'll have duos like I think Ben's there. Ben Janzo's playing there on Saturday night. And you go and see them. It's a blast. Come by me first, and then go over to Mainstream.
There's a full week of live music here in the Shaw, because I know on Tuesday nights at the House of Guinness they have traditional sessions.
Yes, they do.
About it. And those same guys go over to the Clark Kitty Corner from you,
exactly.
and they do the same thing over there.
I've sat in on
so
those.
you kind of got you could stand there in the points when there's no traffic and kind of catch your live act when you have your open mic, and then also catch some trad while you're some Irish trad while you're.
Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, we do our thing. On Thursday, Mainstream does their thing. Fridays, we go early, so we're playing from 6:30 to 9, and then we usually send people, down to Mainstream or over to Nice Ash. Nice Ash has music.
Great.
And then Saturday nights, we go early, 6:30 to 9, and then we send people out. Nice Ash has music. Mainstream has music. So there's always music. You hear music up and down the streets.
Sure. So, hey, in about the 2.5 minutes we have left, Danny, I just wanted to know what is it you want people to know about you and your business that you can't leave here without saying, like, this is why you got to check out Guitar for Life.
Yeah. Thanks. And thanks for the forum. I love Waukesha. I've been down here working for 14 years, living down here for a good 20 now, and lived my whole life out in Waukesha. And I love what we're doing downtown. Everybody's helping each other out. There's music all the time. There's nightlife. During the day, there's shopping. There's food. It's just a really nice place. Guitar for me is that's my outlet. That's how I entertain. That's how I teach.
Sure.
But everyone downtown wants to entertain you as well. They want you to come and eat their food. They want you to be proud and happy to come on downtown. And there's construction, and there's always that kind of stuff. And parking's kind of a pain sometimes. But the city's getting much better at it, and you can get around pretty easy. You can park, you can walk up and down the street and have a good time. And like I said, listening to music and learning and talking to people. We've got a lot to say down here, and
Sure.
we really want to see you and have some fun with you.
That's fantastic.
It's just a fun time. The cafe is a great place to go and
Sure.
hang out. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. The studio is full and having fun, and we're always taking new students all the time. Doesn't matter how old or if you're good or bad or don't know anything. Just come on in. We'll make you feel comfortable, and we'll keep you there for a long time. Most of the students don't go away. They keep coming in and staying for a long time. So that says a lot about what we're doing.
Sounds great. And we have 1 minute left. You're open today, right?
Open today from 11 to 9. We've got, I've actually got a new guy, Colin, that's coming in tonight to provide some music from 6:30 to 9.
Wow.
Hot dogs, paninis, chili,
And good times.
and a lot of fun. Yeah, we'll be goofing off with you all day today.
That sounds great. So, Danny Faustman, Guitar for Life Studio. Thanks so much for joining
having
us,
me.
for all that you do for downtown Waukesha. We definitely have to have you back on the show again, maybe with some of your artists.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We thank everybody for listening today. Enjoy this beautiful sunshine. We'll see you over at the Farmers Market. This has been This Week in Waukesha. Our guest next week will be Kristen Hansen to talk about voter registration and voting. And again, Danny Faustman, thanks for joining us today. Check out Guitar for Life Studio. And remember, safety is everyone's responsibility. Bye for now.